Hey guys, welcome back from spring break. We're going to be doing volumes of rectangular prisms and triangular prism. We're going to be finding volume. Alright, so we know from what we've learned in the past, rectangular prism is a 3D figure with two rectangular parallel bases and two rectangular faces. Okay? Now we know a triangular prism is a 3D figure with two triangular parallel bases and three rectangular faces because it's a prism. Okay, so on our formula chart we're going to be working with prisms here. Okay, we're going to be doing rectangular and triangular. Alright, as you see highlighted, use your formula chart as you are watching this video. You got to use it. You can't do it without it. Okay, so we're going to look at our formula chart. Rectangular prisms and triangular prisms have the same formula. Now, how is that true? They're two totally different shapes. Triangles have triangles as their bases, and rectangular prisms have rectangles as their bases. Okay, so if we look down here, we see that triangular prism is V equals the big B times the lowercase h. Okay, volume down here is, for a rectangular prism, is big B times lowercase h. So what do we have in common? Well, they have the same formula and they have a big B times h. So the big B doesn't really mean base. It means the area of my base. So you have to see what are your bases and then you got to find the area. And remember the activity we did today in class? This will definitely help you on your assignments if you know the why behind it. So the big B means the area of the base, okay? So it does not mean just the number down there. It means you got to get the area of the base and then multiply it by the height of the whole 3D figure. So what are my bases on a triangular prism? Well, my bases are triangles, okay? So it would have to be the area of this triangle times the height of the whole thing. Well, what about rectangular prisms? Well, the base is a rectangle and we got to get that first and then multiply by the height. Okay, so I messed up here. Everybody, your paper's right, but this one's wrong, so I'm going to kind of fix it. Okay, so what are my bases for a rectangular prism? We just went over that. They're rectangles. So on a rectangular prism, we have to know, we got to look at the area part of our formula chart for this. Okay, so a triangle says, or a rectangle says the area of a rectangle is base times height, or sometimes they use length times width. Okay, so this means that to find the big B, we have to do length times width, which means the same thing as base times height. Okay, and we'll do some examples here in a second. So this is just my base. So the big B means base times height of the base, because big B means area of the base. I want you to say that 2 more times. Big B means area of your base. Okay, what are my bases of a triangular prism? Well, they're triangles. So my bases here is different than up here, obviously. So we have a new formula to find the area of the base, or the big B. So my big B here would mean base times height divided by 2. On our formula chart, look over here. The area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height, which we know that we rewrite it like this. Okay, on your formula chart, you might see it like this, though. Okay, so that means we have to find the area of one of my bases, which is a triangle, and then multiply by height in the very end. Okay, so then, after we get the area of the base, then we multiply by the height of the 3D figure. Okay, so this is what I'm about to talk about what we did today in class. So height to a shape is all the areas combined to create volume. So height is what creates volume. It's how many areas you stack on top of each other. So added areas of a shape is the height number of a 3D. So if I have 10 areas put together, then that's going to be, the height will be 10, and then you have to get the area and multiply by 10. Okay, so let's do this. Question, what is the volume of this rectangular prism? Okay, first things first, you always highlight your bases because that's going to be your big B. Okay, so make sure you write this down. It's very essential step. And then you're going to redraw your base. So in this case, I can't really see my base down here, so I'm kind of going to draw it in. So what I would do first is I'm going to highlight my base, okay, or highlight my bases. I'm only going to need one of my bases, okay? So to find just what big B represents, just my variable, the capital B, I'm going to redraw my base over here, which is a what? Rectangle, okay? It's a 6 by 4 rectangle. We're not worried about the height yet. We're just worried about our base. So my big B is going to be the area of my base, which is a rectangle. So how do you find the area of a rectangle? This is what the big B means for a rectangular prism. Area of rectangle. Okay, the rectangle I drew over here is base times height, which would be 6 times 4 to give me 24. Okay, so my big B represents 24. What does my lowercase h equal? Well, look over here. That's what equals the height. So we have 5 as my height. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute. What did we figure out the big B was? We figured out over here the big B equaled 24. That's the area of my rectangle, or the area of my base. Okay, and then we multiply it by how many heights we have. There's 5 of them, and remember what we did in class? Okay, so 24 times 5 gives me my answer, which is 120 centimeters cubed. We got to remember with volume, it's to the third power. Our units are to the third power, okay? Now, I'm going to just remind you in 6th grade, okay, your formula for a rectangular prism was length times width times height. Okay, now that you think back, doesn't that make sense with the formula now? Length times width would be your big B, because it's a rectangular base, because that's how you find the area of a rectangle. And then you multiply by the height. So I want you to know we're doing the same thing as 6th grade. So if you want to remember length times width times height from 6th grade, for only rectangular prisms, you could honestly do 4 times 6 times 5. Okay? Alright, now, the rest of this is going to be triangular prisms, which is a little bit tougher because we always got to remember that our big B's are our bases. So here's what big B is, which means that, oh, I can't draw, which means my base, okay? So this is my rectangular base on the other side. I did a horrible job outlining. All right, so I don't have numbers on here, but on your notes, you should have 3, 4, say this side length right here is 5, and then we have 11 meters here. Okay, so first things first, I already did it. I highlighted my base, which I did a horrible job. I'm going to highlight my bases. Here's my other base here. Okay, so I highlight my bases. That's what we need to do first. Okay, now we know our formula is volume equals area of my base times the height. Well, what is my base this time? My base is a what? Triangle. So I have to find the area of my triangle, and that's what big B is going to represent. So I'm going to redraw my triangle, or one of my bases. So I know that my triangle is a 3 by 4, and then it tells me extra information here that's a 5. What do I not need to find the area of this base? Exactly, I don't need this 5 because I'm looking for that right angle to do base times height divided by 2. Okay, everybody look on your formula chart. Area of a triangle says base times height divided by 2. Why did I use the area of a triangle? Because that's my base. That's what the big B means, is the area of my base. So now I'm going to plug in what I know. I know my base is 4. The height of my base is 3. So 4 times 3 is 12 divided by 2 would give me 6. So my big B represents 6. Now, what's my height? Well, this one's kind of tricky. From your height is what connects your two bases. So my height from this base to this base is 11. This one's tricky because it looks like 3 is my height, but this is part of my height on my base. So the height here would be, my little h would be 11. So now I'm going to plug it in over here. What did we find the big B was? Well, when we put it in the area of a triangle, it'd be 6 times 11 would be my height. So 6 times 11, my volume would be 66. I don't have any units on my video, but I think yours is meters. But if I don't have any units, it's going to be units cubed to the third power since we're doing volume. Okay? Okay, if you don't get it, we have 2 more examples and then I'm done. All right, first step. We're going to highlight our bases. It's our first step, highlight our bases. So I know this is a triangular prism, so I'm going to highlight my base here. Okay, now our big B, I'm going to well, first we need to redraw our base. So I'm going to draw my height of my base, which is 15, and then my base would be 10. So here, and I think I put numbers on yours, there's like 18 on this side and 18 on this side. So it'd be 18 and 18. Okay, what is extra information here? Well, find your right angle to find the area. 18 is extra information. That's why I added it, so you know that that is extra. So my big B is a triangle. So go to your area of triangles, and it's going to be base times height divided by 2. Okay? So now my base for this, finding my right angle, would be 10. My height of just my base is 15 divided by 2. So 10 times 15 is 150 divided by 2 would equal 75. Okay? So this is what my big B represents. So I can go ahead and plug it in if I want over here. So big B means the area of my base, which was a triangle. So the area of this triangle, or one of my bases, would be 75. Times the height is what connects your bases. So my height is 20, which connects this triangle to this triangle. So that's the height of my entire 3D figure, or my entire triangular prism. So my little h would be 20. So then plug it in. So 75 times 20 would be, I'm going to do the math so we can get through this a little faster, would be 1,500 centimeters to the third power. Okay? Awesome. All right, one more and then I'm done. All right, what is the volume of this triangular prism? First things first, highlight your base, and then we're going to redraw your base to the side. Okay? I'm going to highlight my base. I'm going to make sure I know this is connected by the right angle. So I'm going to redraw my base right here. And I know 5, 10, and then this side is 15. What is extra information? Exactly, this 15. I do not need the 15 because I know my right angle creates the base and the height for my base. Okay, so area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2, which that's what the big B means. So my base and height of just my base is 5 times 10. Divide everything by 2. So it would be 50 divided by 2 would be 25. So 25 is going to be my big B. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in over here. So I know my big B is 25. Times, what's my height? My height connects my two bases. So my height is from this triangle to the other side over here. I'm going to put an arrow to the other side over here. 2 connects those two. So that's the height of the whole 3D figure. Okay, a lot of kids get confused with 5 being their height, but it's what connects the bases. 5 is your height for only the base, only. Okay, so 25 times 2, I'm going to plug in for H. So 25 times 2 would be 50 centimeters cubed, or to the third power. Okay, awesome. Well, I know this video is kind of long, but I will see you tomorrow. Make sure you scroll down and submit. We're still being strict about y'all submitting. You got to make sure you answer the questions because we will be going over them tomorrow. It is your responsibility. All right, y'all have a great night. See you tomorrow.